if you don't mind, we are going to get to the news. According to a new report, the deal that President Trump negotiated yesterday with NATO involves Denmark giving the U.S. sovereignty over small pockets of Greenland to build military bases. So basically, the deal we already had. I'm so glad this guy isn't my real estate broker. Hey, so I think I can get you the house for the asking price. While speaking to business leaders yesterday in Davos, President Trump said that foreign nations were taking advantage of the U.S. before he imposed tariffs and added, quote, our country was being plucked like you pluck a chicken. Thanks for the analogy, Farmer Brown. The only chicken you've plucked is a McNugget from a box of 20. I hope I pluck a good one. While speaking at the World Economic Forum yesterday, President Trump said that only stupid people buy windmills. You said that in front of the Netherlands? Did you also say tulips are just gay weeds? While talking to business leaders yesterday in Davos, President Trump spoke about his cabinet and said, quote, I like bringing successful people in. Successful in what? Flip cup? Pete Hegseth's last big success was passing a breathalyzer. During a signing ceremony today for his Gaza Board of Peace, President Trump said, quote, we have peace in the Middle East. No one thought that was possible. Yeah, or even actually happening. President Trump is set to travel next week to Iowa to help campaign for the midterm elections. Yes, please do that. Please tell everybody which candidates you like. I think that would really help. A treasure hunter recently found a class ring on a New Jersey beach from 1966 that belonged to a Nebraska woman. Cool. Normally, the only way to find a class ring on a Jersey beach is to go up to any guy. A 15-year-old dog was recently returned to his family more than 10 years after he went missing. So good news, kids, and then almost immediately, terrible news, kids. The burger chain Five Guys is set to open a new 10,000 square foot restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip. Because if you like Five Guys, you also like gambling. According to a new report, the U.S. murder rate has fallen to its lowest level since 1900. Yeah, well, it's pretty hard to get murdered if you never go outside. And finally, according to the latest numbers, the Eagles album, their greatest hits, 1971 and 1975, is the best-selling album of all time. Largely because the people who love that album keep forgetting they already bought it. And that was a monologue, everybody. We got a great show for you tonight. He's a talented actor and podcaster. You know him from Will and Grace and the Smartless podcast. He's starring in The Unknown with performances beginning January 31st at Studio Seaview. Here in New York City, Sean Hayes is back on the show, everybody. And she is the host of NBC's Football Night in America and the lead studio host for the NFL, NBA, and WNBA on NBC Sports next month. You can see her as part of NBC Sports' legendary February, featuring the 2026 Winter Olympics, Super Bowl 60, and NBA All-Star Weekend. Maria Taylor will also be joining us, everybody. But before we get to all that, Donald Trump announced that he has made a deal with NATO to settle a dispute he started over Greenland, which only he wants, but he can't say the specifics of the deal or how long it lasts or even if there is a deal. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. You guys remember the whole Epstein Files thing? You know, the trove of secret documents detailing the various crimes of the world's most notorious sex trafficker. You know, the files pretty much everyone across the political spectrum has been demanding to see, in which the administration is required by law to release. Well, Donald Trump has found something people hate even more than his handling of those files: his quest to take over Greenland.
Trump's net approval rating on the Epstein Files, look at that, just absolutely awful. 38 points below water. But any try to buy Greenland is somehow even more unpopular. Look at this. It's 40 points below water. There is barely an issue out there that's worse for Donald Trump than the Epstein Files, but any attempts to buy Greenland or use military force on Greenland, which even polls worse than this, is one of them. It is arguably the most unpopular thing that Donald Trump can try to do, is mess with Greenland.
So Greenland is polling worse than the Epstein Files.
You got it.
Okay, so I think I know what happened here. Trump thought people wanted to know more about Epstein Island, so he tried to distract them with a bigger island. You're thinking too small. Go for the big ones, America. Take your pick. You could have Greenland, Fiji, Madagascar. A lot of bad stuff happening on Madagascar. A lot of shady stuff. King Julian, when he said, I like to move it, he was talking about cocaine. A lot of people are saying that more and more. Anyway, the point is Donald Trump found an issue people hate even more than his Epstein Files cover-up, but don't worry, he wants you to know that the dispute he started over a thing no one asked for has now been resolved, possibly, or maybe not.
The White House says that negotiators are working out the details on a framework of a deal that would satisfy President Trump's demands on Greenland.
However, the president stopped short of providing any details, and now we're hearing some conflicting information. Maybe there is not a deal.
There may not be a deal because simply not everyone is on the same page this morning. Denmark's prime minister says her country can't negotiate on its sovereignty. Now, the details of that deal still unknown at this hour. It's unclear whether it would mean the U.S. will take control of the Danish territory or not.
It's a deal that people jumped at. Really fantastic for the USA. Gets everything we wanted.
We wanted nothing. We were perfectly happy hearing about Greenland once every couple of years on Nat Geo and nowhere else. Literally, no one was talking about Greenland until you started talking about Greenland, and then we all started worrying that you were going to nuke Greenland, which made every news story terrifying thanks to the name of Greenland's capital.
Nuke Greenland.
Nuke Greenland.
Nuke Greenland.
Nuke Greenland.
Nuke Greenland.
What did he do? Greenland should tell everyone nuke is a Greenlandic word that means get your hands off us. Can you at least tell us the terms of this deal you made that no one asked for?
Does it still include the United States having ownership of Greenland like you've said you wanted?
It's a long-term deal. It's the ultimate long-term deal.
So no. You never want the answer to start with, You spent weeks insisting the U.S. had to have Greenland, and now the deal you're celebrating doesn't even get us Greenland. Trump negotiates with other countries the way I negotiate with my kids. No more Paw Patrol, it's bedtime. All right, fine, one more episode. All right, fine, 2 more episodes. All right, here's how it's going. All right, fine. I'm gonna go to bed, watch as many as you want. There's ice cream in the freezer. That's your dinner, go nuts. Don't tell mom about this, or do. I don't care. Also, I have to go back to this.
It's the ultimate long-term deal.
He sounds like a hard-bitten detective from a film noir. Talking about a femme fatale's dead lover. Get it through your head, lady. Frank's gone. He's 86. He bit the dust. He's dead. You understand me? Dead. But he was just down at the docks making a deal. Oh, he made a deal, all right. He made the ultimate long-term deal. Thank you. Please, can you give us any details about this deal you supposedly struck? Is there at least a timeline?
It puts everybody in a really good position, especially as it pertains to security and minerals and everything else.
How long would the deal be, Mr. President?
Infinite.
Did you speak to Denmark?
There is no time limit. It's forever. It's what's called an infinite deal. It's forever.
Yeah, sounds very official. Is it really infinite? At this point, it's pretty clear world leaders make deals with Trump the way kids do on the playground. I want to make sure this is a long-term deal. Would infinity suit you? We could also stipulate no takebacks, and while we rarely do this, we are prepared to pinky swear. How can you have, no more details about a deal you just made for a thing only you want? You sound like you're doing a book report on a book you didn't read, but it's worse because it's a book you wrote. It's like if J.D. Salinger got up in front of the class and said, Catcher in the Rye is about, a baseball game or something. Takes place in, a bakery, maybe. Trump is not actually a deal maker. He just plays one on TV. For example, here's his account of a supposed conversation he had with French President Emmanuel Macron, in which Trump claims he pressured Macron into raising drug prices in his country so that they would be higher than drug prices in the U.S.
I said, Emmanuel, you're going to have to lift the price of that pill to $20, maybe $30. Think of that. That means it's a doubling of prescription drugs. Might be a tripling, might be a quadrupling. It's not easy. No, Donald, I will not do that. I said, yes, you will, 100%. He said, no. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to be doubling or tripling? No. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. The answer is you're going to do it fast. And if you don't, I'm putting a 25% tariff on everything that you sell into the United States and a 100% tariff on your wines and champagnes. No, Donald, I will do it. I will do it. It took me, on average, 3 minutes a country, saying the same thing. You will do it. They all said, no, I will not do it.
It took 3 minutes? Then why did it take you 5 to tell the story? Just pick up the pace. Pick up the pace. Doubling, tripling, quadrupling. There's no word for 5 times. And we've often wanted it, but no one ever came up with it. I've never heard a conversation that happened less than that one. I'm starting to think Macron is wearing those sunglasses because he's just dozing off while Trump drones off. You've been ripping us off for 30 years. Huh? We. Also, take a second to consider what Trump is saying in that totally not made-up story. His way of making Americans feel better about drug prices is not to lower them for Americans, but to raise them for everyone else. It's like if your wife caught you having an affair and your response was, I'll make it up to you. I'll call my friend Tony and get him to cheat on his wife, too. See, your marriage isn't that bad. In reality, it seems like what really happened is Trump backed down from his threats towards Greenland. After facing resistance, the world erupted in outrage. The stock market tanked. Denmark and its allies sent troops to Greenland. And Europe threatened to fire back with a special economic weapon of its own.
Some leaders are threatening retaliation, including using what's been called their trade bazooka.
President Macron, who requested the European Union retaliate with a so-called trade bazooka.
Okay, but please don't call it that, because Trump's gonna watch TV and then call out to one of his aides, do we have a giant bazooka that shoots tariffs at people? No, can we make one? And then they're gonna have to find a way to placate him, so he's gonna show up to his next press conference holding 2 giant Nerf bazookas. This dumb episode's yet another example of what happens when Trump encounters even minimal resistance. He backs down. It's a lesson opposition leaders here and abroad should remember whenever Trump makes an insane demand. Instead of saying yes, they should start saying
No.
Because if he thinks he can do whatever he wants, he might decide to.
Greenland.
This has been A Closer Look.